Hello, my name is Tom Wharton. I'm the director of the BACS program, the Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science. I'm the unassociate department chair for the Department of Computer Science. And this presentation is for students in the College of Arts and Sciences who are interested in majoring in computer science or perhaps minoring in computer science. So the presentation is designed for students who are at UVA who are thinking about declaring or have already declared and want more information. It's also going to be for students transferring to UVA from other universities. And there's going to be a few slides and a little bit of discussion at the very end of this that's specifically for transfer students. So I've got a set of slides I'm going to go through. So let me share my screen and get to those. So, welcome. You must be watching this because you're interested in computer science, and that's great. We're excited that you are. I want to emphasize that this presentation is designed for students in the College of Arts and Sciences. There are computing degrees for engineering students. The information is really different. The requirements are different. And so this is not for you. There's another presentation on the department website, that department advising website, that's for engineering students. So as I said, the slides are first going to give a lot of information about the major in computer science and also a little bit about the minor. At the end, we're going to have some info for transfer students. And you may be here because you know we have a major in computer science for students in College of Arts and Sciences. And maybe you already know you want to declare that. And if so, that's great. We'll give you the information about how to do that. But if you're not sure, if you're just exploring, this presentation will be great for you too. And we'll also talk a little bit about the minor. So first, how are you going to find out information? Well, new this year, the department has a brand new, well, it's 6 months old, CS advising website, which we're really excited about because it has a ton of good information, and it's, well, we'll show you that on the next slide, a little bit more about that. That's going to be your go-to resource for pretty much everything you want to know. We consolidated a lot of information onto that website. But if you have any questions later on, I am the program director for the BA in computer science. So if you do declare the major, I am the sort of person you go to for exceptions and policy decisions and things like that. We have a special web address that goes to me and my backup, Worthy Martin, in case I'm out of town or something like that. We have CS department office staff. We have SJ and Amy and Tina and even some others. And they are student support staff. Part of their responsibility is to work directly with undergraduate students to get questions answered. And so in particular, down at the bottom, if there's a question on process, procedures, hey, I submitted this and I hadn't seen the results yet, or who do I talk to about this? You don't ask me because our staff can answer those things very easily. And there's an address there, cs-office@virginia.edu, that should be easy to remember. That will go to all of them. And if you ask them a question they can't answer, they will follow up with me or someone else in the department or the university to get your question answered. So we'll take care of you for CS questions. But you may have questions about things that are not related to CS. Like, hey, I want to know about general education requirements, or I need to delay my graduation or take a semester off. I've got questions about getting an overload approved. All that's true for any college student. It's not CS specific. And so you have an association dean in the college, and they'll answer questions like that. And of course, there's web pages that the college maintains and provides with all that information too. So a lot of those things we don't know in CS. And so, skip ahead to ask the right person by going directly to your college person. But if it's something related to computer science, the study of computer science, our courses, our computer science rules, don't hesitate to ask us. Oh, but don't forget the advising webpage may have a lot of information about things that you're going to want to know about. So let's talk about that advising webpage. There's the address, http://uvacsadvising.org, all one word, uvacsadvising.org. And there's a little screenshot of it. It's got a nice table of contents. And one of those items there is BACS information, and you can see there's sort of subsections. And on the main BACS information, you can see a lot of helpful looking links. Also over here, there are links for other things you might be interested in, like I want to know about undergraduate research or place out tests or the cybersecurity focal path. And so you can use that menu to find other things too. And if you can't find what you're looking for, up here, there's a search bar. You type anything in there and it will find what you're looking for. So this page is really great. We're really proud of it. And students who've used it so far really like it. And we've worked really hard to get lots of information into there. So don't forget, UVACSadvising.org. All right, so let's talk about the major first of all. If you're a student in the College of Arts and Sciences, 20 years ago, there wouldn't have been a computer science major for you, but we created the BA in computer science for students in the College of Arts and Sciences. And it's different from the one we've had for a long time in engineering. It's all about studying computer science in the context of a liberal arts education. That doesn't mean it's not a real CS degree. It really has all the characteristics that computer science degrees have around the country. It's different than the engineering degree. There's no question about it. And I'll talk about that in a moment. But there's a little blurb there that talks a lot about what the BACS is, but it stresses that its goal is to connect or apply computing to other disciplines in the arts and sciences. And so that is what makes it different than the engineering degrees. But the last couple of sentences are important. You will be perfectly well prepared to apply what you've learned about computer science to anything a company wants to hire a computer scientist to do. You'll also be perfectly well prepared to go to graduate school in computer science or any other field that requires knowledge of computer science. So it's definitely a strong computer science degree, but different than the one you'll see in engineering, but very similar to what you'd see at other computer science degrees around the country that are found in schools of arts and sciences, like our college. All right, so let's say you want to declare. Let's say, I know some of you have come here because you want to declare it. Maybe you've already declared it. Let's say you want to declare. How hard is it to get in? Well, if you have the 2 prerequisite courses with a grade of C+ or higher, you'll definitely be admitted. There's no competition. There's no restrictions. You just need those 2 courses, CS 1110 or an equivalent course, and CS 2100, our data structures course, with a C+ or higher. And if there's an issue with grades, if you had a bad semester or something was going on in your life, we'll talk with you. And if it was a COVID semester and you don't have a letter grade, but you have a CR, not a GC, but a CR, that's fine too. Transfer credit, place out test credit. We'll talk about all those things later on, but some kind of credit for these courses. Well, let's say you've got the first of those, but not CS 2100. Well, we'll talk about that later on, but you will need to complete CS 2100 to get that C+, and then you can apply immediately after. So, the day you get your grade in CIS, you can submit that major declaration form. All right, I mentioned place-out exams a moment ago. A lot of students come in with some kind of previous credit for an early computer science course. And of course, our CS Advising website has the full details. But really quickly, a score of 4 or 5 on the AP exam will get you out of 1110. The principles course, the principles AP exam doesn't really give you credit for something in computer science, but you might know enough programming to take the place out test. IB credit, you can see the scores there. If you've got IB credit, you can definitely get out of 1110 and even possibly 2100. So 2100, the data structures class. We do have a place out exam for that. What do we mean by a place out exam? Well, place out exam is there's the information is there at that link. You don't get UVA credits, but that course would be required for a later course. You don't have to take, let me say it again. If something requires a course later on, like for example, CS 3140 requires 2100, but if you get credit for the place out test, you can go straight into 3140 or any other course that requires that as a prerequisite. So let me sort of give you an idea of what that might look like for a second. Let me share something else here. Let me go to the advising page real quick and show you a nice, one of the nice things here. I'm going to go to BACS info. I'm going to go to the degree handouts and references because there's something there I want to show you. The course prerequisite chart. So let's say you do take the 2100 place out exam. Here's CS 2100. There's a bunch of other things that require 2100, like 3140, 3130, 3100. Even though you don't get credit for 2100, you can go ahead and take those. And we will enter something into SIS that will make SIS allow you to take it. So here we are on our advising page, and you can see that there's a nice chart that shows you prerequisites. There's lots of other things here. We can see about various courses here. And as I mentioned before, under BACS, there's all kinds of things here to look at. Real quickly, let me show you how search works while we're here. Let's say you were interested in study abroad. I'm going to type study and look, it pops up with various things, including help with studying abroad. You click on that and you get a link that gives you some information about getting courses approved for study abroad. All right, so that's our search page. And I use that to sort of talk about place out test. Oh, let me go back there. I should have showed you that link about place out test. Place, click in the right place here. Place out test, here we go. So here's a lot of information about the CS 1110 place out test with a lot of details about how to request it, what it covers, what it means when you pass it. Down below, there's a lot of information about the CS 2100 place out test, how you request it. Oh, this one you got to do in person. The other ones you can do online, what it covers. And so lots of information there if you're thinking about doing the place out test. Okay, back to the slides. Okay, what about declaring? Let's say you're here, you've met the prerequisites and you want to declare. Well, surprise, surprise, our advising page has a page, our advising site has a page that tells you all you need to do. There is a very short form for our department that asks some simple questions like what your grades are in the prerequisite and some other very simple things. And then the college has a system called DocuSign. And DocuSign lets you complete a college form. Then you fill out some routing information. It gets sent to the right people send it, sign it, and send it on to the next person in the chain. And so you'll have to do the college's major declaration form. And when you submit that, you'll be attaching the department's form. And then it comes to the director of the program, me, and I sign it. And then it goes to someone in our department who assigns you to the advisor. And then it goes off to the college and eventually gets fully approved. And this can only take a couple of days if everyone's available to sign those things. But the full information is there at that link. So if you have the prerequisites and you're ready to declare, that will explain to you what you need to do. Now, I'm going to say if you're a transfer student and you're watching this, we'll talk about that at the very end, but we want you to wait to be advised before you do the major declaration form. But if you're a resident student here at UVA right now wanting to declare, go for it. You can declare anytime. We sort of process the forms as they come in. There are some times when we get busy and we don't do them. For example, the end of the spring semester and graduation. That is a time when there is too much going on. And so those things wait until June. And of course, in winter, during the winter break, we're not around to do that. So often things get delayed then and there. But normally it moves pretty quickly. Very rarely it takes a couple of weeks, and sometimes it just takes a couple of days. All right. Well, I want to take a little bit for a second to talk about our BA in computer science degree. And you may have friends who are in engineering here, and they'll talk about the computer science degree in engineering, and some of them might be even doing the computer engineering degree. We have 3 what we call computing degrees, and there are many common courses, and we don't really have special courses for BAs that are different than the BS courses. In other words, all majors take the same courses. The requirements are different, so they may not take all the same courses. In fact, engineering students take some additional courses that aren't required for the BA. So let's look at that a little bit different. In recent years, we've changed our curriculum. That's why we sometimes refer to this as the new BA in computer science. But right now, it's the only one you can declare, so I'm just going to call it the BA in computer science. And there are common courses that both the college students and the engineering students take who are doing a computer science degree. They all take 1110 and 2110 as prereqs. Um, they take our Discrete Math and Theory 1 course and our Discrete Math and Theory 2 course, which used to be called Algorithms. They take the same two Computer Systems and Organizations class, 2130 and 3130. They take the same two Data Structures and Algorithms class, CS 2100 and CS 3100. And then we've had a new course in the last, since about 2022, a course called CS 3140, Software Development Essentials. The goal of that course is to give you more programming experience using certain tools and technologies like some basic database stuff and software testing that will then help you in later, more advanced CS classes. So that's a course where you'll get hands-on technical skills in programming and tools that will help you not only in jobs, but in later computer science classes. For that reason, don't put that one off for too long. Well, that's not all. That's sort of a common core for all our degrees, but the BA requires 3 additional CS classes, plus what we call integration electives. And I'll say more about those in a later, but that's what helped makes the BACS have this sort of interdisciplinary liberal arts kind of characteristic. Engineering students don't have to do those. So the total number of CS credits, if you include the the prerequisites, the Common Core, and the electives, is 36 credits for the BA. And it's more for the BS. The BS is an engineering degree, and engineering degrees have less breadth. They focus more. They're more of a professional degree. That's the nature of engineering. They dive a lot deeper. Well, not a lot deeper, but they dive deeper into their subject. And so engineering students will do 48 credits of computer science. Now, if you're doing the BA, you can take more CS if you have room. So if you feel like you're getting fewer credits than one of your fellow students in your class, just because they're in engineering, feel free to take more. But that number of credits is not so different than what you would find at other universities if it was a liberal arts focused BA computer science degree. Engineering students are required to take advanced software development, CS 3240. That can be an elective for BA students, and many students take it. They have to take 5 CS electives instead of 3, and they have to do a senior project, what we call a capstone, and that's a characteristic of all engineering students. So the degrees are different. There's no question about it. There's more courses in an engineering degree. But our companies that hire our students, whenever a BA student says, hey, am I at a disadvantage because I'm a BA and not a BS? The people from the company roll their eyes because they keep getting asked this all the time, and it does not matter to them. They want to know that you've had classes that match the job they're hiring for. They'd like to see that you've done internships or projects or some kind of outside work. Other than that, they don't care if you come from the college or from engineering. And graduate schools don't care either. All right. I'm not going to talk about this. This kind of sums up the things I just talked about. I guess I will point out one thing. When an engineering student starts at UVA, they're in engineering from day one, and they have to choose their major. They have to at the end of their first year. And so they are tracked into their degree pretty quickly. Now, the College of Arts and Science, it's a liberal arts school, and there's a philosophy of a liberal arts education that you're supposed to explore, check things out, not decide on your major necessarily in your first 2 semesters. And so a lot of BA CS majors declare at the end of their second year, sometimes at the beginning of their third year, and that's a little bit later than engineering students do. That means that if you're in a 3,000 or 4,000 level CS course, you may be a third year, and a lot of your engineering fellow students will be fourth years because they've just started earlier. And it also means that if you start computer science later, you may have like a little bit less of a chance to get an internship after your third year because maybe you're not so far along in your coursework. So we do see that engineering students will take will have a few more internships, maybe one more internship because they've started CS a little bit earlier. But at the end of the day, none of this matters drastically. You'll still graduate with a perfectly fine degree in computer science and be very well educated and ready for anything. All right, I've been talking a lot about the major, and I promised you I'd mention the minor. So really quickly, there's not that much to say. It's 6 courses, and 2 of them are those prerequisite courses for the major, CS 1110 or one of its equivalents, 2100, the data structures and algorithm course, And then after that, three of the other core courses, discrete math and theory one, computer systems organization one, and that software development essentials course. And then you get to choose one other course, 3000 level or higher. It could be an elective or it could be one of those other core courses. All right. One point at the bottom here, we do have an independent study class that students can do as research, and you can use up to 3 credits to that for an elective, a CS elective, for either the minor or the major. All right. So more information about the minor can be found on, guess where, the UVA CSadvising.org page. So let me go back to those integration electives for the BA major in computer science. I've mentioned several times that part of the goal of the BA is to sort of combine computer science with courses in arts, humanities, and science to help develop an understanding of how those computing topics, or no, sorry, those non-computing topics connect with computing. So the integration electives, it's probably the most asked about requirement in the BACS major because there's lots of rules and there's lots of choices and it's very complicated. But the main goal is to sort of do something that's not computer science in arts and sciences that sort of connects computer science with one of those subject areas. And so you can see the formal definition down at the bottom. These are courses that explore applications of computing to arts and science fields in some kind of significant way, or they add some fundamental depth and background that's necessary for computing. So there are some courses in math and areas like linear algebra and other things. But these are not computer science courses. They are courses offered by arts and sciences. All right. So there's some common questions. This comes out. There's like, what courses can I count? Well, there's like 90 courses on the official list from like nearly 20 departments. And so guess where? On our UVACSadvising.org page, there is a list. You can see that. New courses come out. The college will develop some new course in music or media studies. It's offered as special topics, and it would be great as an integration elective, but it's not on the list because it's a special topics course, or it's a graduate course, a 5,000 level course. So we have a list of courses that aren't on the official list that CIS recognizes, but these are courses that you can petition, and we will enter a CIS exception. And so these are new courses or courses that we're not allowed to count because they're special topics, not allowed to put into CIS because they're not officially permanent courses yet. So be sure to look at that, that page that has more information on that. We have some students who find a cool course in commerce or engineering or data science or Baton or education, and they say, hey, this looks good. In fact, it looks a lot like some course that the college offers. And the answer is those usually can't count, but there are some exceptions. Remember, integration elective courses are about how computing applies to the liberal arts and sciences. And the business school, the commerce school, is not about the liberal arts and sciences. And the same can be said for education and other things. There are a few. Can there be CS courses that count as integration electives? Nope. Integration electives are strictly non-CS courses. And then kind of a related question. Some people said, hey, I found this course in data science or commerce or someplace else, and it kind of looks like a computer science elective. Can I count that as a CS elective? And again, the answer is sorry, but you can't. Okay. We're about to wind up, but I want to sort of give you some background, some data, some information. You know, I said any student who meets the prerequisites will be allowed to declare the major, and that's true. It wasn't always true. Back in nearly 10 years ago, we had limits, we had caps. And so we just want to sort of re-emphasize that. You might have heard, oh, it's hard to get into computer science. It's not. You just need to pass the prerequisites. This data is from the fall of 2022, so it's probably a little bit dated by the time you see it, but it shows how big we are. We are big. We have nearly, in 22-23, we had nearly 1,800 majors across all 3 of our degree programs. And you can see that computer engineering is relatively small. Computer science and engineering is largest, but we get a lot of second years because all the engineering students have to declare by the start of their second year. And we get a lot of BAs who don't declare until their 3rd year. We graduated in 2022, three in that full academic year, about 365 BA majors and about 305 BS majors. So overall, over 700 majors if you include all three degrees. That total of nearly 1,800 computer science students has steadily grown. You can see back in 2017, 18, it was only about 1,100. So we're a very big department. Our programs taken together are, if you added them together, it's probably the largest or second largest program in the entire university in terms of number of students. One of the things that's important to us is having a student body of computing majors that sort of reflects the diversity we see in the university and also in society. And you may know that in computing, the number of women is much less than you would think it would be if you just looked at the sort of proportion of women at the university or in society. In fact, around the nation, it's around 22%, which is kind of low. The engineering, it's very low, actually. The engineering school overall is about 33% women. We're up to overall about 30% women, 29.3% women of our majors are women if you look at all three programs. And in the BA program in particular, it's close to 40%. It's around 39%, which is exceptionally high. So we're really pleased about that. Having diversity in your program has lots of advantages for developing good solutions. We can talk more about that later on if you'd like, but it's been shown that having a sort of uniform group of people on software design teams and other kinds of development activities actually produces poor solutions. So anyway, UVA was recognized as the sixth best among four-year universities in terms of the number of women, the proportion of women graduated after, including Salisbury University, University of Washington, City University of New York, University of Washington, Bothell, and Penn State. So we're very pleased about that. Other kinds of diversity might matter to you also. You can see here that the number of Black or African American students overall in computing is about 4.7%, which is lower than UVA's engineering school or the college overall. Same with Hispanics. The number of Hispanics are a little bit lower. I'll let you look at the rest of this if you're interested in these things. But diversity matters to us, and we try to support students from all backgrounds and make computing as accessible to anyone who wants to do it as possible. And so we've had activities in the department to sort of work with students, for example, from high schools that don't have a lot of computing in the curriculum. So we try to support students who are from sort of rural areas or urban areas where there hasn't been good computing background, to try to sort of help students like that make the most of their computing degree here. All right, one other thing that's very interesting. We've talked about the interdisciplinary nature of our BA in computer science. One way that's reflected is because nearly half of our graduates do a second major. And cognitive science is popular, also econ and Spanish, and of course the mathematical sciences too. A third of you all who graduated last year did a minor. So that's very cool, we think. It shows that you're not only just a computer scientist, but you've also taken advantage of some of the other great educational opportunities in the college to have a very broad set of skills and a broad knowledge of things. By the way, if you're going to do a minor, the college has a rule that's relatively new that says you can't count a course for both a major and a minor. It can only count for one or the other. But if you're double majoring, it's possible to share some number of credits. Usually it's 6 credits. But you can find out more about that on our advising page. A couple of things I'd like everyone to sort of have an inkling about. When you declare yourself to be a computer science major, you get assigned a computer science faculty member to be your CS advisor. That person's there to help with questions about computer science, about courses to take, about grad school, maybe about career opportunities, although most of us professors aren't as knowledgeable about that as someone else I'm about to tell you about in a minute. But again, for non-CS questions, general education and stuff like that, don't forget your association dean in the college. We do require that every student meets with their CS advisor before course registration. I also want to point out we've got right now one professional advisor. This is a staff person, S.J. Jimenez Calhoun. SJ is trained as a professional advisor. They will help you out on computer science questions, but also other kinds of things, and even training things that you might think association deans and counselors might know about too. So don't forget about SJ, and you can reach SJ by mailing the CS office address that I mentioned before. Many degree programs in the college have what's called the Distinguished Majors Program. This is an option you can do. We have about 3 to 5 students a year do this, where you do sort of senior research. You take 2 additional classes and you write a thesis. And more information about that's on our advising page. You don't have to do that if you want to do research. You can still do independent study, CS 4993, with a faculty member and use up to 3 credits of that for your CS electives. A lot of CS students go abroad for a semester. So study abroad is very popular. It's very easy to do it. There are many universities that have CS courses if you need CS courses. You have to get those approved before you go, and our advising website tells you who signs off on those. We have a number of computer science clubs and organizations, or clubs that are of interest to CS students. There's the ACM, which is sort of the generic computer science organization. There's women in computing scientists and girls who code, and there's student game developers, and there's a cybersecurity club and a machine learning club. It goes on and on. So there's a web page. Again, there's a link on our advising website. And finally, I mentioned career opportunities before. There are 2 career centers here at UVA. There's one for the whole university, and then there's one within the School of Engineering called the Center for Engineering Career Development. And it's got engineering in the title, and it's part of the engineering school, but my department's part of engineering, and you belong to our department. And so therefore, this center will work with you. And in fact, they like BA students. So no, that's not as funny, but they are super supportive of our BA program and our students, and they will advise you on things other than engineering. They can tell you about grad school or careers in computing you can do with a computing degree that don't involve programming or engineering or things like that. So the folks over there are very, very, very welcoming and very supportive and have a lot of good info. It's not just about engineering careers. So that's the one I would go to. They know the most about computing issues. The university-wide one's okay. They know a lot too, but this one really specializes. I mean, half their business is computer science majors, and we actually pay for one of their staff members. All right, all links for all of those things are on the UVA advising website for you to find out more. So let's talk about what might happen to you after graduation. Well, you might want a job. And the job situation for BA students is great. People get jobs mostly in the technology field. I'll talk about that in a second. You can see the companies that hire. They're over to the left. In the upper corner, you can see that still most of our students go to the sort of Northern Virginia, DC area, although the number going to Seattle and New York City has been growing in the last few years. But really, you can go wherever you want. There are lots of jobs. People go to grad school, including here at UVA, but other great universities like Carnegie Mellon or Stanford, MIT, all the really great ones will take our students. Down at the bottom right, there's info about salaries. Now, there's a notable difference between what an engineering major who does the BS gets for their starting salary than the BA student. And we've looked into this. It's kind of interesting. We've done some statistical analysis, and what seems to matter most, first of all, it's not clear that it seems that more of the engineering students actually go for the higher paying jobs in like the expensive areas like Seattle or California or New York City. So there's a little bit of sort of self-selection there. Fewer BAs go for those jobs. I don't know why, but they just choose not to. What shows to be the most significant thing is the number of internships you've had. More of the BS students have had 2 or more internships compared to the BAs because BAs start later. We wondered if it was a difference between degree. The companies that we work with tell us not. And when we look at students who go to, say, Capital One or Microsoft, who hire a bunch of our students, they will hire both BSs and BAs, and they will pay them the same. So within a single company, there's not a difference in salary. So I want to point out that you might think, whoa, 87.5, that's lower than 100,000. The median for engineering, all the other engineering degrees is 73. We're talking really good money here. So I would not worry about this very much at all. I'll skip this for a second, but I won't skip it entirely. But this sort of shows where students go to graduate school. And I want to point out that a lot of students who do the BA program will do a graduate degree, maybe in something that's not computer science, like public policy or ecology or even Latin American studies or data informatics. That's kind of related, or astronomy. And I know some of these students, and some of them are actually using their computing degree in their graduate work, and some of them aren't. I mean, the person doing Latin American studies is doing pure Latin American studies. So the BA can get you into graduate school if that's what you're looking for. And this shows you that most of our BA graduates from the year we did this survey are working in the computing or information technology. Although some of them go into management consulting, some of them go into um, sort of investments making. We've had a lot of people go with companies like Goldman Sachs and other kinds of New York-based financial sort of institutions. So if that's something you want to do, the BA can certainly help get you there. I'm going to close out just by not going to talk about these people, but you'll have access to these slides. If you're sort of curious what some of our BA students from the past have done, I've got 2 slides that sort of show you 6 people who've gone on to do great things. Not great things, but they've just had really successful careers. Some of them with big companies like Google. But Christina, she's a vice president at TD, the financial core, the company. It's not a surprise that people end up doing work in data science or Google security. But Michael Liu is a student I've known for a long time. Left UVA, went and got his law degree, and he does patent law. So he's employing his knowledge of computing in the legal area. And of course, people can go into business. Muzamel's been very successful, one of the top 30 venture capitalists under 30. That's quite a recognition. So you might want to just, I always hesitate when I show these to new students, because I don't want you to feel bad if you're not going to be one of these people. But I'm just trying to sort of tell you that the degree you're getting can take you wherever you want to go. All right, so when you have questions, this isn't live, so you can't ask me right now, but you know how to get in touch with me. There's my email address if it's something I can help you with. But before you do that, check out our advising site again. We have a page there called Info for New BACS Majors that's strictly there to sort of help answer some of the common questions for students who are declaring the BACS or thinking about declaring the BACS. Again, reminder, we have this CS office address, csoffice@virginia.edu, that if you've got questions about policies and procedures and things that are more just not about academics, but just about how things get done, they can probably help you out there. And again, non-CS questions, your association dean or whatever contacts you have in the college. Well, thanks for watching. I'm glad you were interested in computer science. If you're a transfer student, hang on, because in a minute, I'm going to sort of help you all out. For those of you who aren't transfer students, this is the end of the presentation. If you choose us in CS, we'd be thrilled to have the opportunity to have you as one of our students. We're a huge department, but we're very supportive of students, and we try to have a great experience for you as you learn about computing. All right, so take care. Get back to us if you have questions. Transfer students, you're next. All right. So if you're still with me, you are either thinking about applying to UVA as a transfer student, or you've been accepted and you're about to arrive. And so the first thing we want to say is welcome. We are really glad to have transfer students come join us. And we really want to do all we can to sort of get you off to a good start. We want to recognize, I think you know this, but a transition from one college to another, it can be a challenge. It can be stressful in 2 dimensions, both academically, the way we do things here in our courses may be different, but also just socially. You sort of coming in to a place where most students aren't transfer students, you might feel a little left out, have a trouble sort of figuring out how to blend in. I don't know, some students have no problems with either of these, but some people do. So we want you to know you can get through this. You can make it. You can definitely transition to be a UVA student and be happy and successful. But at the beginning, it might be a little bit tough. So, well, this recording's sort of intended to be used all year round. And a lot of our transfer students sort of arrive in the summer to start courses in the fall. So what do I want to tell you to do? I want you to participate in the college's summer orientation activities if you can. I know some of you can't because of travel and things like that. But when you participate in orientation in the summer, you'll have a chance to talk to someone in CS, maybe me, maybe other people, about advising questions, about how courses transfer, course equivalencies. Will also help you get into CS courses for the fall so that you get off to a good start. And so it's pretty important to sort of get that help during the summer before you get here in August. But if you can't, all is not lost. You just need to sort of do this on a one-on-one basis. Don't contact me, the program director, in August, and we'll do as much of that as we can before you get here. But we might have to do some of it when you actually do get here. And so don't just not do that because you couldn't go to summer orientation. Do get in touch with us and try to do that before the week before classes start. You might be watching this and transferring in at the start of the spring semester. So you'd be coming in January. And so there is no orientation for you. So I'm going to give you the same advice I gave you the people who missed summer orientation. Get in touch with me, the program director, as soon as you can. And we'll talk to you about advising questions, course equivalencies, how you get into CS courses and all that. Those of you who start in January, sometimes you slip through the cracks because we don't get told who's coming. And only we sort of find out after the fact, like, oh, I got here in January and I couldn't really get into courses. We're like, oh, we could have helped you, but we didn't know you were here. So get in touch. All right. One question that comes up, and I just want to get this out of the way. Some people come here with 2 years of community college or 2 years of coursework somewhere else, and they haven't had much computer science yet. And that can be a problem. And so I want to sort of address this head on because we want to make sure you can complete the computer science major if that's what you want to do. But we put a warning on the undergraduate record, which is the sort of equivalent of the course catalog at many universities. We've got it on our website too, that you got to be careful. If you haven't had any computer science, it's really difficult, if not impossible, to complete the major in 2 years. On the website, in the undergraduate record and on the website, we say ideally you should have the equivalents of CS 1110 and 2100 before you get here. If you're getting here after 2 years, and you'll be starting your 5th full-time semester when you get here. And one reason that's important is because the College of Arts and Sciences here has a rule that a lot of universities don't have. They only allow 8 full-time semesters. If it takes you more time than that, you got to go part-time, which is 6 credits. They don't let you do 9 full-time semesters. Of course, you can do summer courses too, and that can help out already. So the problem is if you haven't had enough CS before you get here, you might sort of run out of time before you can finish. So what if you've just had the equivalent of that very first programming course, CS 1110? Yeah, it's definitely possible to complete it in 8 full semesters. You definitely need to be in 2100 in the fall semester and either in one of the other 2000 level courses, 2120 or 2130. You can't declare the BACS until you've completed 2100 with a C+. And so when you take it in the fall, you can declare right after that in December once you have that grade. The college, though, requires you to declare a major in your 5th semester. And so they do make an exception to this. There's something called deferring a major. And so your advisor, your association dean might talk to you about this. And if you have more questions about it, you can talk to me, the program director, but we will let you defer the major while you're taking 2100. But, and this is a big thing, if you've only had one computer science class and you think you want to major in that, you're really working on a limited amount of information. And you may find out after taking a few more computer science classes that it's really not a good match for you. You really don't like it that much. Maybe you're not successful at it the way you want to be. And if you're really sort of starting out in the 5th semester with one of these early classes, you might suddenly discover, I don't want to do computer science, but you only have a couple of semesters left. So we urge everyone who's just starting out with courses kind of late a little bit to have a plan B, to have some other major that you think you might want to do. And that fall semester, that first semester, while you're taking CS 2100, take a couple of courses, one at least, towards this other major that you could fall back on if it turns out computer science is not good for you. So if this sounds like something you think you ought to worry about a little bit, talk to your association dean about what other majors might fit your goals. Okay, so having that warning out of the way, let's say you really only had CS 1110 before you got here, and you've only got 4 more semesters to go. I said it's possible, and your schedule would look something like what I show you there. You'd take CS 2100 in the first semester in the fall, then you declare, you try to get another CS 2000 level course there. And then your spring semester, you take 2 more CS classes. And you sort of, then your last year, you take 3 CS courses both semesters. So you can see you're kind of pushing a lot of computer science to the end. And it's not really a huge problem, but that if you were suddenly to discover you didn't like computer science, you could see you might discover that late and not have much time to sort of do something else. So that's sort of the possible schedule of what your CS courses would look like. There's not much wiggle room in there. If you dropped, say, CS 2130, well, you'd have to wait a semester to take 3130. And if you dropped 3100, let's say, you'd have to take it in the 8th semester and then come back in a 9th semester and only take 3120. And that's one we don't offer in the summer. So there's not much wiggle room there too if you're late, but it's possible if you've only had CS 1110. You've got to fit in your integration electives. We talked about those before, plus gen ed. So those aren't the only courses you'd be taking, obviously. What about course equivalencies? If you're a transfer student, that's a big question. I'm coming here with certain courses in computer science. How do they count? Well, if you're coming from one of the Virginia community colleges, and lots of our transfer students do, there are some standard equivalencies for some of our early courses, 1110, 2100, 2120, and 2130. And I'm going to sort of show you those on the next page. But I should mention, well, I'll mention that in a second. 2100 and 2130, if you're feeling like maybe, I got the credit from the community college, but I didn't have the greatest teacher, or I didn't understand it all that well, and I'm kind of worried about going on, those are our 2 hardest courses here among those 2000 level courses. And they're the ones where you really do need to be prepared to take 3100, which comes next, and 3130. So if you're worried or doubtful, consider retaking them here. And you can talk to me about that or your advisor, whoever you see during orientation, about that. But those are the ones I would suggest think about retaking if you're nervous. But maybe they were fine. So just because I said this, don't feel like you have to do that. Place out test. We have place out tests for 1110 and 2100. And if you're transferring in the summer, you can take those in the summer. The website doesn't make that very clear, but you can take them in the summer. Grading will happen during the summer, but we have faculty who are on vacation and traveling, and so it may not be as immediate as it might normally be. Well, we'll talk. Those are the computer science equivalencies. For other kinds of things there, or for other schools besides Virginia community colleges, the College of Arts and Sciences has a website where you can sort of enter in your school and what course you're looking for, and it tells you how things transfer. And it has a lot of equivalencies there, but not for every school in the United States, and certainly not for international schools. So if you don't see your university or college listed there, don't worry, we'll do this by hand. You'll email me, the program director. I'll want to see info about the course. I want to have access to some kind of syllabus or outline of topics so I can see that, and I can figure out how things will transfer. And so that's one of the things we do during the orientation process during the summer or right before your first semester. So some of this we may have to do by hand. All right, I mentioned the community colleges. This sort of table sort of shows some common things. I just want to point out something. The community colleges recently changed their courses. That used to be that there was a 2-course programming sequence, CSC 201 and CSC 202. And they've now replaced that with a 3-course sequence. Here at UVA, we have a 2-course sequence. So these don't map super well, but CSC 221 at the community college in Virginia is really the equivalent of 1110. And then the second new course you would take at the community college is 222. And that doesn't really map to anything we have. It's sort of part of what we do in 2100 and part of what we do in 3140. So you'll get CS 2000T credit for that, which means it counts towards graduation, but it doesn't count towards the major. The course that counts as CS 2100 is CS 223. And so let's say you came from the community college and you only had 221 and 222. We'd need you to take 2100 here. If you have all three of those, then you're ready for whatever comes after 2100. Something similar has happened with the sort of computer systems and organization courses. The community colleges have a sequence now that's 205 and 215. And 205 doesn't really do enough to cover what we need you to know in 2130. So you really have to finish 205 and then take 215 to be prepared for 2130 here. There's better news on 2120. There's several discrete math classes that transfer as CS 2120. So that's the story from the community colleges. If you have questions, talk to us during orientation. So the final thing we do during orientation or help you with when you first arrive, we get you into CS courses you need, and we've saved some spots in them. They look full. If you go onto any of the online systems like SIS or Lose List, you may see that there are no places, but we have secreted away some spaces in 2100, 2120, 2130, and 3140 for new students coming in, new transfer students. And you all are the ones who are, well, they're reserved for you. We will help you get into them. If you're a little bit more advanced and you're looking for a CS elective, our CS electives fill up so quickly during normal registration, there are hardly any spots. CS 3205, Human Computer Interaction, has some open spots. It's a great course for new students. Lots of our students have already taken it. If you're looking for some other elective, you may have to wait until next term. That is the likely result here. But no harm getting on the wait list. Something may happen, but chances are you're going to have to wait until next term if you're looking for an elective. But some of you will be transferring in with a lot of advanced CS courses, and I will work with you to try to get you into the courses you need, even if they appear to be full. So if you've already had some of those early courses and you're looking for later courses, we can help. All right. Final word for you transfer students. The first semester can be a challenge just getting you into the courses. It's crazy. It's painful. We do a lot of emails, but it gets better. When you sign up at the same time every other student does, things will be better for you. Also, that rest of that first semester can be a challenge. You've got to adjust to a lot of things. Some students tell us that after they transfer that courses here at UVA move more quickly than they're used to, or they have more work. Certainly they can be a lot larger than courses at other universities, and sometimes that can be discouraging. So there's a lot of adjustments you might make, and I want to say things get better. But one advice I would give you is don't be afraid to ask for help. It can seem like a big department with big classes and lots of students, but we do a lot to try to sort of make that work. So for example, we have lots of TAs for our classes. I'm teaching a class where there'll be 25 TAs. Some of the early classes has as many as 50 undergraduate TAs helping out. TAs are students just like you. They've been through the same things. They will help you out and give you advice on your work, but also on just navigating computer science. Instructors, you may see this person who looks very small at the front of this very large room, but go see them during office hours. If you're struggling with something, do not be afraid to ask. If you really need more help, we have a lot of resources. So I mentioned SJ. SJ is our professional advisor in our computer science department. She's trained in a lot of things. She has all the contacts at the university for things like the Student Center for Disabilities, CAPS, our Center for Psychological Services. We can give you lots of advice about those things, and SJ might be the point of contact for that. Or you can ask me, your program director, or your association dean in the College of Arts and Sciences. So don't be afraid to ask for help. There are a ton of resources here. As a new student, it might be hard to sort of know where to go to, but we will steer you in the right direction because we want to sort of make things work for transfer students just as well as they work for our first years coming in. So welcome again. Look forward to seeing you during orientation. We'll get everything sorted out, and I see transfer. We did graduation very recently, and I saw lots of my transfer students walk across the stage. And I remembered when they only got here a few years ago and how crazy things seemed, but things worked. So welcome to computer science and the University of Virginia. Take care, and we'll see you soon.